It is 4 o'clock. Order. Order. I will call Sir Bernard Jenkins to move the motion, and I will then call the Minister to respond. There will not be an opportunity for the member in charge to wind up, as is the convention for 30-minute debates. I've been informed that 2 honourable members have been given permission by the mover and the Minister to speak in the debate as well. Order. Sir Bernard Jenkins to move the motion.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Stringer, and there may even be a third intervention from a colleague, and I hope that will be all right with you. I should have notified you in advance, and I apologise. First, I thank the Minister very much for taking part in this debate regarding the further funding of the new A133-A120 link road. The top line is that central government must fund phase 2 of this road. The previous government committed to do so and provided a 100% grant via our housing infrastructure funding grant of £99.9 million in 2020. But since then, COVID, inflation have struck, and this grant is now some 50 to 60 million short of what is necessary to complete this road. And I should say that that estimate is not an official estimate. It is hearsay, but it does not seem the least bit unreasonable. Essex County Council has started the construction of phase 1, but phase 2 is not funded. The government's housing targets for Colchester and Tendring cannot be met without this vital new road. This development of 7,500 new homes is very substantial, but I support and understand the need for it. And this development cannot be justified without this road being completed in advance. Indeed, without completing this road, the developers may well stop investing in the houses because the traffic will be intolerable and the new homes are found to be unsaleable. The proposed Tendring Colchester Borders Garden Community, or TCBGC, located between the A120 and the A133 north of the University of Essex, includes new primary and secondary schools, dedicated employment spaces, a nature reserve and a commitment to 30% affordable housing. The new homes will generate a huge increase in traffic. The new direct access to the A120 and the A133 is essential for the viability of the development. It will also significantly mitigate local adverse traffic impacts, both during the construction phase and as the new homes are occupied. The whole project now hinges on phase 2, which will complete the link to the A120. Without phase 2, the A1331 will be a road to nowhere and only add to traffic on already congested roads. There is no viable or agreed funding for phase 2, and I hope I don't have to disabuse the government of this fact. But certainly many councillors and local people fear phase 2 will never be completed. So far, the government has told the county council, and I quote, "There is no budget," unquote, for any additional funding. I think they've been told that by the government. So my first question is this: will the government please now consider making up this shortfall? I wrote to the MHCLG on the 11th of November, and I got a reply just last night. These adjournment debates have a purpose. They provoke a response. I'm grateful for the Minister's letter, in this case from Baroness Taylor, in which she states, and I quote, "Essex County Council and Latimer," that's the developer, "have committed to use reasonable endeavours to procure delivery of phase 2. And in order to safeguard its delivery, there is a planning policy requirement for the developer to demonstrate funding is in place for the full link road." I put it to you, Mr. Stringer, and to the Minister, this really is wishful thinking. Think about it. 7,500 homes, a 60 million contribution to finish phase 2 is £8,000 per home. And that's just for the road. Where is all the other Section 106 funding required for this development going to come from? I give way to the Honourable Lady.
Thank you so much, Mr. to share on your chairmanship, Mr Stringer. I'd like to thank the honourable member for Harwich and North Essex for securing the debate. I had the pleasure in November last year of joining partners from Essex County Council, Colchester City Council, Latimer and Clarion Housing, Homes England and contractors to see the start of phase 1 of the link road. And as he rightly says, it's just phase 1 and we need phase 2 to be completed. Speeding up phase 2 by creating a deal through those partners, including government, is going to be a really vital part in that, and I hope that he would support initiatives around that, as we've been already having those kinds of discussions. I'd also like to invite the Minister to visit the project to see just how short this link road is that's required to complete what is going to be an outstanding development that straddles both our constituencies.
Well, the Honourable Lady is clearly keener on the development than I am. But yes, of course, if the government comes up with some money to make this whole development viable again, I will continue my support for it. And I would very much welcome a visit from the Minister, but it remains to be seen whether we're going to get one. I'm afraid I refused to attend that event because I thought it was irresponsible to start a road which nobody knows how is going to be funded or when it's going to be completed. Today, the Minister, in her response, may refer to a December Memorandum of Understanding on this matter between Essex County Council, the Colchester and Tendring Councils and Latimer. But I have to point out to her and to the Department this is not a binding agreement. Paragraph 1.6 states that the funding of infrastructure, including the A133-A120 link road, is contingent and that the funding, and I quote, will only be possible if the overall delivery of TCBGC is financially viable. Remember that? £8,000 per home just for the road. TCBGC will no longer be financially viable. Financial contributions through Section 106 will not be enough to cover the cost of Phase 2 of the road, along with all the other essential infrastructure planned from this development. What has got to give? Are we going to finish up with more GP practices, closing their lists, not accepting more patients, or more schools without places for local kids? Section 106 funding should be for local infrastructure, not for national infrastructure, like this proposed new A road. The clue is in the term A road. It's part of the trunk road network. What is the cost-benefit ratio of this, for this new road? The original funding application said 7-to-1. Now, a 7-to-1 BCR is well above the threshold of very high, which is only 4. So this public investment will give very big payback for the local economy, jobs and tax revenues. Can the Minister provide us with a BCR for just Phase 1, which the government has now agreed to fund on its own? And retrospectively, incidentally. And it's approved in that way via a material amendment to the grant determination agreement, which the government has signed, allowing the County Council just to build Phase 1 with the grant money so far allocated. The government agreement to that makes the government complicit in the wishful thinking that this development is going to be viable. My guess is that the BCR for just Phase 1 will be rock bottom. It will have been very little economic benefit at all and would never have passed muster if that had been proposed as part of the funding arrangements at the outset. Without knowing what that Phase 1 BCR is and how they could justify how could they possibly justify the government turning down the request for funding to complete the A133-A120 link road, I would say, I would speculate that the benefit-cost ratio for finishing the road is off the scale because of the sunk cost already committed. Labour have promised growth and new homes to voters, but with infrastructure first. Here is, I would have preferred earlier notice for this intervention, but of course I will give way to the Honourable Lady.
I apologise to the Honourable Member and thank him very much for giving way on this particular point, because it's about infrastructure and the importance of infrastructure coming first. And just down the road from this proposal is the A12 widening scheme, which affects my constituency of Chelmsford, where we are also waiting for confirmation of funding which would potentially affect the delivery of 55,000 new homes, which of course would go a long way to meeting the government's 1.5 million target. Does he agree with me that infrastructure first is so crucial that government must must not overlook it and when it's considering funding.
If they want to achieve anything like their 1.5 million target, they're going to have to put the money up front for the infrastructure. And like that, here is a shovel-ready deal for the government to show their commitment to achieving their 1.5 million target for new homes in this Parliament. If the promised 7,500 new homes are not built because Phase 2 of the A133-A120 is not completed, then Colchester Council and Tendring District Council have not got a chance of achieving the government's ambition. Without Phase 2 of the road completed ahead of the new homes, which was the original intention, the most likely outcome is that the new garden community will be started and then stalled. There is already standstill traffic every day on the A133, where the southern end of the A133-A120 is intended to relieve traffic congestion. A few hundred new homes will just add to this gridlock. In my November letter to the Secretary of State, I make clear that I have not up until now felt the need to object to this massive housing development in my constituency. I recognise the need for new housing, but my support is contingent on the principle of infrastructure first. If there is no new money from the government and nobody can say when the road will be completed, I will object, and so will the vast majority of Colchester and Tendring people. The government is just shifting responsibility onto the developer and the local authorities for this road, on which the viability of the whole scheme depends. I therefore ask the Minister, and I somehow don't expect a conclusive answer today, to consider topping up the HIF grant so that it covers 100% of the cost as originally intended, and to publish the benefit cost ratio of just funding Phase 1 so that we can see what poor value limited HIF funding now represents. I also ask for the government to affirm the principle of infrastructure first. I hope she could do that, and for their acknowledgement that the Section 106 money is not an appropriate vehicle for funding a major piece of national infrastructure. This is an A road being proposed here, not a local road, which is why central government should fund the new road. I did also notify you very late, Mr Stringer, that our colleague from Clacton might want to say a few words in addition. Thank you.
No. Oh, fine.
Thank you, Chairman.
Sorry, if I can ask the honourable member to take his seat just while I read out the resolution, the motion. The question is that the House has considered government funding for the A133-A120 link road. Nigel Farage.
Thank you, Mr Chairman. Well, I'm here to support my geographical neighbour, the honourable member for Harwich and North Essex. He's absolutely right. It would be wholly irresponsible to commence the building of thousands of houses without knowing that a road is going to be completed. And so I'm here to support completely what he says, and I'm sure that constituents in all neighbouring constituencies would overwhelmingly agree. I just wonder whether ever, when these things are debated, be it here or in the main chamber, whether we ever really pause for a moment to understand what we've done, what both Conservative and Labour governments have done. A 10 million increase in the population in the last 20 years. The Office of National Statistics this morning suggesting that another 3 to 4 million will be added in the next few years. These are all problems of uncontrolled mass migration and the population explosion. I wonder whether many members level with their constituents about the causal factors here.
Minister.
Thank you, Mr Chairman. It's a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship. I want to start off by thanking the Honourable Member for Harwich and North Essex for securing this very important debate and for highlighting his concerns about this project. And to other Honourable Members for their interventions. I know how much these debates mean and matter to constituency MPs as someone who spent many years securing debates of this form to raise important issues affecting our constituencies. The government recognises there are significant benefits to high quality large-scale developments which deliver much needed housing, and I'm grateful that he acknowledges the importance of housing in communities like his and up and down the country, We recognise that the right infrastructure must be put in place first, including the right transport infrastructure. Without this, facilities and transport become overstretched. And one of the consequences of this overstretch is, of course, congestion and delay in the journeys of both existing residents and commercial traffic. The Housing Infrastructure Fund was established, as he knows, in 2017 primarily to provide upfront infrastructure funding, infrastructure to support the delivery of large-scale strategic housing developments. This £4.2 billion fund will unlock 260,000 homes. 30,000 of those homes have already been started, and we expect around 73,000 further completions during this Parliament. This will make a significant contribution to the government's target of 1.5 million homes, and that is a major commitment of this government. Previous governments also had commitments around house building, recognising the need in our country for housing. I'm aware that, of course, as he's spoken about the project in his constituency, the tendering Colchester Borders Garden Community Project, and this project is expected to initially unlock 5,000 homes at the garden community and will increase over time to a total of 7,500. He has already highlighted a number of points, but I just want to restate those. This government is providing £99.9 million from the Housing Infrastructure Fund for Essex County Council to build a rapid transit system high-speed bus route. This will run through the north to the south of Colchester, connecting to the new community. And I'm pleased to note this work is under construction. The Honourable Member has shared and appreciate the concerns about the second item of infrastructure being funded, the A133 link road, which will connect the A133 and the A120. Over the past years, infrastructure projects across the country have been affected, as he's pointed out, by a number of unexpected factors. Projects have been affected by the pandemic, other external events, rising inflation, the shortage of skilled labour, and in a constrained fiscal environment, government has had to make tough, difficult decisions. And due to the escalation of the costs with the tendering project, it is no longer possible to construct the entire link from the link road with the funding available. And additionally, there continues to be delivery challenges with the sections of the road, particularly in relation to land acquisition. In response to the request from Essex County Council in 2023, the previous government made the decision to use the available grant to fund only phase 1 of the link road. And I appreciate the Honourable Member's concerns over this de-scoping of the project. And I can assure him that together with the first phase of the link road, the existing local road network is sufficient to support 5,000 of the homes in the garden community. And moreover, I can assure him that the intention to deliver the full link remains. To this end, there is ongoing engagement between Homes England and local partners on support to enable the full link road to be delivered as soon as possible. This includes capacity funding to support planning, facilitation of joint working between public and private sector partners, and cross-government brokerage support, which I hope will help address some of those points that he's raised. Both Essex County Council and the housing developer Latimer have committed to use reasonable endeavours to procure delivery of phase 2. And additionally, to safeguard its delivery, there is a planning policy requirement for the developer to demonstrate funding is in place for the full link road. And my department is also providing support through our New Homes Accelerator programme, which will help with the pre-planning process for the garden community. Tendering Colchester Borders Garden Community is an important project, Mr. Chairman, in the area of an area of high demand. The Housing Infrastructure Fund grant is a catalyst for a wider £250 million private sector investment into infrastructure. And the new community will include a new country park, significant green and blue infrastructure promoting sustainable and active travel, a new 25-hectare sports and leisure park to be used in conjunction with the University of Essex, and a new 17-hectare business park for general employment. I'll just conclude this section. Employment, business and industrial purposes, and the government's committed to the full delivery of the infrastructure originally planned under the Housing Infrastructure Fund grant. I'll give way to the honourable member.
I'm most grateful. She's saying one or two very interesting things. First of all, I've never heard anybody say, and I quote, I wrote down what she said, the local roads network is sufficient to support 5,000 new homes. I don't know who's told her that. I promise her that she has been misinformed. And this point she's just made about all this other desirable infrastructure to have for this development has got to come out of the Section 106 money that's now, according to this MOU, going to be diverted to the road. Section 106 money is not unlimited. 60 million, possibly, for this development to fund that road is a very, very large sum, £8,000 per household. Why is she convinced that this is still a viable development?
Minister.
Well, look, the honourable member has set out his critique. I think what's important is that we get this right, and that requires close working with him and other honourable members and my department, and that's why the brokerage element of what we do is really important. He makes very important points. We can continue the conversation beyond this debate, as I appreciate there are a number of complex issues that need to be worked through, but we are determined to support this development and make sure it's a success. If I may continue, Mr. Chair, just in terms of concluding, I would like to.
I just have one other guess.
Yeah.
We've got time.
Yes, of course.
Which is that I have little doubt that the delegated authority of the three combined authorities who are planning to give this planning permission will be minded to give planning permission come what may. But I reckon this decision would be subject to judicial review if this road is not guaranteed at the time of planning permission is granted. Now, it's a policy decision to make sure that the road is guaranteed, but then what else is taken away? And that itself will be challengeable under judicial review, given that it will be so far from the original plan. So I'm very grateful to hear from the Minister that she wants the conversation to continue. Long may it continue, and I hope we can reach a satisfactory solution.
I'm grateful to the honourable member, and I know that he is an extremely diligent member of this House with many years of experience and a great campaigner. And so he makes important points, which obviously I won't be able to go into in terms of planning matters. But I look forward to working with him. I want to thank him for securing this debate. This government is committed to making sure we deliver on housing. But of course, it's extremely important that we continue to work closely together with members in order to make sure we address the issues that come up. And I very much look forward to continuing the discussion with him and ensuring that my department can do what it is able to support a successful way through on this project. Thank you.
The question is that this House has considered government funding for the A133-A120 link road. As many as are of that opinion say aye. I think that was an aye. Of the contrary, no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Order, order. Members who are here for the next debate, it will be suspended until 4:40. Yeah. Until when, sorry? 4:40.